right, good Friday, one and all. Moose and Keith with you right here on the Better Sports Network. We got you for the next hour right up until high noon. Dave Sharapan will join us a little bit later on in the program. Thanks for being with us, and got some picks coming your way later on. It's a football Friday, but we get it going. Keith, good morning to you with a little bit of baseball because the playoffs have been terrible. I mean, they just have been. I mean, it has nothing to do with the fact that locally there's no Mets or Yankees. There's been, outside of one double play in the Phillies and Braves series, these playoffs have stunk. I mean, there's been, no games in which a series is on the line. There was no game 3 in any of the wild card rounds. There was no game 5 in any of the divisional series rounds. We've got our matchups where it's going to be Texas and Houston in the American League, and it's going to be Phillies and Diamondbacks in the National League. The top 5 teams in the regular season are all out. And I got Rob Manfred going out there, the man that I've talked about time and time again, that I don't know if he necessarily loves the sport that he's a commissioner of. And I joke around about that, but I got Manfred saying, not a big deal. It's just a couple, 2 years in here. But there are problems when you look at Major League Baseball.
So let's start here. The baseball playoffs have been bad. They have been. And I don't know if it'll get better or not, but this has just been an odd playoffs, right? I'm on a different side of you a little bit with Commissioner Manfred, and I'm not trying to toe company lines or anything like that because I work for MLB Network. But I do think that 2 seasons is a little too fast for us to make a quick decision. The CBA is up December 1st of 2026. I think there's got to already be discussions talking about, is this working? Now, you could turn around and say that it's not working because all of these 100-win teams are out, right? You have the Braves 104 wins out and honestly not that competitive. You had the Orioles 101 wins out, not competitive at all. You had the Dodgers laying an egg 100 wins. You had the Rays 99 wins, done. You have the Brewers 92 wins. I kind of almost even don't consider them here just because that whole division was so terrible. I could find flaws in all of those teams, which is reasons why they lost. I don't love the 5-day layoff. I know Dave Roberts talked about it. I don't. And I don't know how you fix that part of it. Maybe you have to go back to the one-game thing.
Right. And listen, yes, we came into the postseason, Keith, knowing that the Dodgers were short when you're looking at pitching. There's no question about it. But let me ask you this. Why did the top 5 winning teams in the regular season go 1-13 in the postseason? I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, well, the Baltimore Orioles won 101 games in the regular season. I think this is, if they win a playoff round, I think they get, to the ALCS. I don't think they're going to win a World Series, but, this is a sign of things to come down in Baltimore. You should be proud of the Orioles. They got swept. I mean, they got swept by the Texas Rangers, and the game weren't even particularly close.
Who was the number 1 scoring team in baseball, though? The Texas Rangers, right?
They weren't particularly close. They won 101 games in the regular season. So why am I going to look at the regular season and say, okay, well, then this is indicative? So Manfred does have a problem because the regular season, we're following all these teams all season. You're having a 104-win Brave team got eliminated in 4 games. 101-win Oriole team got swept away. 100-win Dodger team, they won 162 in the regular season, got swept away by Arizona. The Rays went meekly into the night. The American League East embarrassed themselves in this postseason. And I got the commissioner telling me, well, you know what? It's only 2 years. No. It's an issue here because baseball is a regular season sports. It goes on forever, right? You have to ride the roller coaster of a regular season. So if I'm a Braves fan who won 104 games in the regular season and then all of a sudden look as meek and as quiet as they did outside of one game, game 2 against the Phillies, in which they rallied and miraculously held on because of Bryce Harper's base running gaff. If you watch that series and you had not watched baseball all season long, you would have swore on a stack of Bibles it was the Phillies that won 104 games in the regular season, not the Atlanta Braves.
Okay, so yes, but we routinely talk about the fact that these playoff series are won by the pitching staffs. And if I just solely said who had the better pitching staff, the Phillies or the Braves?
I understand the Philadelphia Phillies, but the Braves were the betting favorite going in. But we could look at Keith. You could look at any of these.
Isn't that every year with the playoffs?
But you could look at every series and say, "Wow, this is the reason why this team lost." Fair, But going into it, when we were running through these series, did you think Arizona was going to sweep the Dodgers the way that they did?
No, but I thought they could win.
Did you think the Orioles were going to get swept by Texas?
No, but I picked Texas to win.
Okay, but you didn't think it was going to be a
Oh,
sweep.
I didn't think it was going to be that. I didn't think it was going to be a blood.
Here's the other problem Major League Baseball has had. The playoffs are supposed to be obviously the ultimate thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is where heroes are made, right? And whatever you do in the regular season, if you're a great postseason performer, this is where you define yourself as a player. What about the fact of, hey, Rob, there is no drama. Like there's nothing.
Well, that's
like,
bad. I agree with you. That's not good.
There's no game fives. There's no elimination games. You've seen none of it. I mean, you can look at it and say, well, the Dodgers, I thought were flawed. I didn't think the Orioles had the experience, or, I didn't necessarily think the Braves had the pitching. You can look at all that, and all that is fair. And you do it every single day on MLB Network. But the other problem is these playoffs have been boring. That's the other issue. Like they sped up the game in the regular season to make it, to bring more fans in, pace of play, all of these things. Well, you're getting to where this is the ultimate prize, where you're really selling your sport to America, and there's been little to nothing to watch.
I can't make an argument that you're wrong there. Like there are other things that I might disagree with you. You're right. The playoffs they've been lackluster. They have been. I mean, honestly, the fact that there's no game 4s and 5s and stuff like that. I get the day off tomorrow now. I was originally supposed to work tomorrow. I'm now off. I'm not needed to work. But anyway, I jest, but it's
no,
true.
I get it. Well, I mean but that stinks. I mean, you'd like to. I mean, I know you get time to spend with your family,
sure,
but
I'll go to a soccer game and stand out in the rain. It's good,
right?
Yes.
We work in a business where a lot of times, if you don't work, you don't get paid. So, I mean, that's the other issue when you look at it. That's all. Because you work for MLB. I'm a huge fan of this sport. It's just been wildly disappointing because you've been able to flip the majority of the games off midway through, knowing the games are over. Like that's tough. Like, and that's something that Rob Manfred, and now you could look at and say, okay, well, Moose, what do you think you need to do? Well, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily need to see a best of 3 in the wild card round. I got to be honest with you. Like, I don't know if you're gonna say it's gonna do a massive disservice. Like you were talking about it before the show. Dave Roberts saying, 3 days off during the All-Star break is different than 5 days off at the end of the regular season. And baseball players love to, talk about the rhythm that they're in. You used to see it with Mike Mussina, creature of habit, what he likes to do in between starts. If that gets thrown off, all of a sudden he doesn't feel right on the mound. And you see it with a lot of baseball players. So if that is indeed the case, and I understand that adjustment can't be made, then that's an adjustment that needs to be made. How about the reseeding aspect of it? How about the fact of like the best team should face the worst team coming out of the wild card round? I mean, and I understand, well, we talked about the other day. Well, you can't do that because, then the bracket's thrown off, gambling purposes, all this. Well,
I just want the best product on the field.
Right. What am I supposed to do? Am I going to go and we've seen, and we work for Better Sports Network, right? But we've seen the instance where there's partnerships with betting entities, and do I have to do what's right by my sport, or do I have to make it an easier sport to go and bet? I'm like, that's the other thing. Like and maybe, just maybe we would have gotten better series, if it was, say, Braves, Diamondbacks, and Phillies and Dodgers, as compared to what, in essence, we got. Maybe we're ended up with a Braves, Phillies, NLCS, which would be great. I mean, that's the only thing I look at, is that I care about the sport, even when, the Yankees are not involved, the Mets are not involved. Like I'm watching, you're watching on a nightly basis. And something I think for Rob Manfred, who he can't do anything about it right now. But you mentioned it, and you're dead on correct. There are people analyzing this and saying, well, we have to come up with a strategy to make it better because this is not doing what's right by our sport.
Yeah, people are behind the scenes. I'm sure there are the conversations. I could make an argument. I could sit here, like if I were doing an MLB Network show today or tomorrow, I could make an argument. I could talk about how the Rangers and the Astros, like I can paint all these pictures. The fan bases hate each other. How the Astros fans will say that the Texas Rangers are really an Oklahoma team. and how the Astros have now been in 7 consecutive ALCS. And I could talk about Justin Verlander's F-bomb laden speech, which was hilarious. I can give you the selling points there. I can give you selling points on the Phillies trying to get back to a World Series and this time winning, and Bryce Harper being a guy that we should all kind of be rallying around, and how this pitching staff is great. And I can talk about Corbin Carroll and the Diamondbacks and this young, plucky team and all that kind of stuff. I can give you all those selling points, but I'll come back to this. Moose, you are correct. Baseball, really, let's word it this way. Sports are better when a giant or maybe a few giants are still left. And I don't mean the New York Giants or the San Francisco Giants. I mean a titan of your league. I think the Braves or Dodgers making it to the LCS would have been helpful to the sport of baseball. One of them. Don't have to have both of them. One of them would have been helpful.
Yeah, and it just would have. Now, I mean, we'll see. Now you might say, well, listen, if you're getting maybe we're going to get great championship series.
I'm still excited about both of these championship series, but you and I are both baseball fans. That's the thing. Like we're the guys that'll watch it no matter what, even if we weren't getting paid to do it. Correct.
Now, is that going to grab the baseball fan that's kind of on the periphery? I don't know. I mean, I'm skeptical of that. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe we ultimately end up with a Houston-Philadelphia World Series, which would be great.
Be fun.
I mean, which would be fun. I mean, you've got an opportunity. I'm not trying to insult Arizona. I'm not trying to insult Texas, but you get the point. Or you might say, well, guys, listen, Moose, I hear what you're saying, but these are the teams that are playing the best at the end of the year. So I can't take the days off as an excuse for baseball players and tell you that that's the reason why. We could argue and make an argument about the Braves pitching, but why didn't they hit? I mean, they didn't hit at all.
That's the oddity there, is the fact that the Atlanta Braves hit over 300 home runs this season. And sure, their pitching was starting to stall at the end of the season. Like, I was not in on their pitching. Spencer Strider had such an amazing season, was never going to win the Cy Young because the ERA was 3 point whatever. And nobody had ever done that since 13 or 17 or something to that effect. I remember that stat that we did. But the fact that the Atlanta Braves couldn't hit, that's an issue. And I don't know if that's a layoff thing. I don't know if that's a Ranger Suarez, Nola Wheeler thing. But the Braves not hitting is an issue.
We'll remind everybody, get the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription. Unlock all content for all sports, including annual draft guides, daily and weekly rankings, value vault, position coaches, and more. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Rangers and Astros, Houston -140 on the money line. And then you have Phillies and Diamondbacks, game one, Philadelphia and Diamondbacks, that's in Philly. Game one, Philadelphia is a -165 favorite. I think we're going to get the Phillies through, Keith, quickly before we go to break. I'm not so sure about Texas and Houston. Texas has got this vibe going with them. I mean, maybe the Rangers end up getting there and you get a Rangers-Phillies World Series.
Can you take me?
Yeah, little Creed, love it.
I think we're going to get Astros and Phillies. That's my gut today. I think that the Astros are the tried and true. They're the tested team. And the Phillies have the better pitching staff. Actually, you know what? The Phillies don't necessarily have the better pitching staff. Gallen and Kelly are awesome for Arizona also. I think the Diamondbacks-Phillies series is going to be good. I think we're going to see, a 6-game series. And I think we see something 5 or 6 games for the Astros. I think the Astros in 5, I'll take them.
Astros in 5. Hopefully we get long series. I'm hoping we get some drama here in the championship series.
I know we got some questions in the chat. We'll get to you guys after the break.
Yeah, we'll get to your fantasy questions here in a minute. After the break, we'll also get into week 6 of the NFL. We're already a game in. And we'll get into Taylor Swift being in Kansas City last night, and
her and Brittany Mahomes are buddies.
Yeah, which was a dreadful game as the Kansas City Chiefs won it 19-8. I think it finished right on the number, -11. I think was the number when that game kicked off. We'll get into more of that. He's Keith Irizarry. I'm Marc Malusis. Moose and Keith with you right here, Better Sports Network.
What can we expect for you out there on the track tonight?
Listen, I have a wife, 2 kids. I have, full-time jobs. I'm never nervous. I don't even know what that word means. Can you explain what nervous means? No. I'm ready to have fun. I've never done anything like this before. I got asked to be a part of this. this is fascinating. Like, it's so cool to just look around and see what goes on here. So I'm just excited to get out on the horse. And you want trash talk? Is that what you're asking me for? No trash talk. I hope everyone does well.
All right, everyone's going to do well, but it has to be a winner. So give me your trifecta. Who's going to come in first, second, and third? Heat.
I will go Maria 1, me 2, Willie 3, Moose goes 4th.
Well, it's very simple. I won this event last year. I won my heat, and so the defending champ has to be the favorite. Now, that makes me a little nervous just because I feel like it's hard to repeat. There's a little pressure when you're the favorite, but that being said, I'm still optimistic.
So your heat, it's you,
yes,
Moose and Keith from Better Sports Network, and Willie Colon.
I think Keith might be my stiffest competition, and I asked for this because I actually recruited Keith, if you didn't know. So Keith, if you win, you're welcome.
Malusis is very good. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but I'm going to go with Maria.
Keith is waving to the crowd. He must pay attention because they're off. It's Marc Malusis going for the lead. Maria Marino on the outside, and now Keith Irizarry on the outside with speed, and they're 3 wide into the first turn. Marc Malusis is locked in for his life. 138 and 2. They're into the stretch. Sportscasters Derby 2. And still in front, Keith Irizarry. And now Marc Malusis is trying to squeeze on through.
Come on! Hey! Come on! Let's go! Come on, dig it! Yeah!
Keith Irizarry. Keith, you did it all the way, wire to wire, over Marc Malusis.
Awesome! That was so cool!
The champ is here! Keith, what was it like being out there? Adrenaline rush, you were doing the Instagram Live, so there was no panic. You looked cool, calm, collected the whole time, and you won it.
I felt really comfortable. I did. Like, I know you were joking with me before. Are you nervous? Are you whatever? What are you? David, the driver, was awesome. He's like, we're going to win this. I said, all right, let's win this. And he said, let's go. Yeah, I just felt really comfortable. I did. It was fun. We're in the lead. I got Maria Marino on the right side of me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to beat us, right? And then out of nowhere, you see Moose coming up this way, and we feel him breathing down our neck. And I'm like,
Moose on the loose, watch out.
Moose was definitely on the loose, and we just got Moose by a neck, a nose, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but again, all of this for a great cause, and it was absolutely awesome to do this. It was cool.
All right, Keith, congratulations, and no matter what, you could always hold this over Moose's head.
Yeah!
It's Moose and Keith with Marc Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Certainly is. Let's get into the NFL, shall we? Question from Big Trev in our chat. Should I start T. Higgins, Boyd, Josh Downs, or Amari Cooper in full PPR?
All right, so this is an easy answer, sort of. It's 11:18 a.m. Eastern time as we sit here right now. I can't give you the answer. What I need to know is, does T. Higgins make it through a practice today? He was limited yesterday. If he makes it through and he's playing this weekend, you're starting him. If he's not, that's where it gets difficult, okay? Because I'm not trusting what's going on in Cleveland because I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to play. And Amari Cooper with who are they going to start this week? I forget now. It's not Dorian Robinson. Who's the Browns are going to start this week at quarterback? PJ Walker.
Yeah.
PJ Walker. I'm not trusting. I know PJ Walker has had a few bright days in the NFL. No, thank you. So hold your breath. Hope that Higgins is healthy, makes it through practice today. Start him. If not, I think it's a coin flip, to be honest.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think Downs and Minshew in Indianapolis, I think have a chance to do something.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, Downs has been good. He's been a pretty bright light there. Yeah.
NFL last night, Chiefs beat the Broncos 19-8. Kelsey had himself a game. Taylor Swift was in attendance. Al Michaels saying, did you see that quote from Michaels before the game that the show is the game and we're not going to focus on the sideshow, which is Taylor Swift, I guess. I mean,
yeah, I think someone like him.
Do you realize who's playing last night, Al? I mean, it's Chiefs and Broncos. The Broncos are a terrible football. That game, if you watch that game last night, And hopefully you got the Chiefs laying the 10.5 and earlier in the week, and you didn't lay the 11, which ended up being a push. But still, I mean, that game made your eyes bleed. I mean,
It was a bad game.
It was a terrible football game. I mean, just awful. And I wanted to see more Taylor Swift. I was more interested in Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce than I was actually the football game. Honestly, how many times do I need to see Russell Wilson, the play card with Sean Payton? By the way, they're zooming in. Sean's got to come up with a new design. They're zooming in.
Know.
They basically can read the entire play chart. I mean, Sean, what are you doing there?
This is a marriage that's not working. This Sean Payton, Russell Wilson thing. And I think there's two things to this. I think one, Russell Wilson is clearly not what he was in Seattle, right? And they knew, and he can't run the way he used to run. He can't escape the way he used to escape, and he's not a pocket quarterback. And then just because he is short by NFL standards for QBs, everyone just assumes that Sean Payton is going to turn him into Drew Brees. He's not. That's never been the quarterback he was. I don't think it's going to work. And I think Sean Payton's trying to paint Russell Wilson into this box or put him into this box. That's not working. Russell Wilson's not fully diving into it. Also can't. Yeah, this isn't going to work. And they're stuck. They're stuck together because they've spent a lot of money on both of those guys.
No, they really are. Interesting matchups this weekend. Let's run through a couple of the storylines. First off, Dolphins home against the Carolina Panthers. Miami a 13.5-point favorite. We know HN placed on IR with that knee injury. Curious what your take is on Chase Claypool for this reason, because the stories and reports coming out of South Beach is that Claypool or that McDaniel wants to try and use Chase, a big-bodied 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver, at tight end, not at wide receiver. So my question is, and the reports on the practice field, and I love what McDaniel had to say. He goes, I judge a player based on the way that I deal with that player. I don't take anything that happened anywhere else with that player, just what our personal interactions. What's your take on Claypool, and do you think he ends up being in that offense? Do you think he ends up being somebody at the tight end position that Miami can go to and be productive with?
Can he block is going to be the question. Can he at least help a little bit as a blocker? Now, Jimmy Graham, often lined up almost as a wide receiver, even though his designation was a tight end, and Jimmy Graham had a borderline Hall of Fame career. So it can work. And in that offense, as long as the offensive line can give Tua a little bit of extra time, it's not a bad week to try it against an Ofer team in Carolina. If Claypool were to try it, I don't know if they're even going to try that this week. I think it could work. And the other thing too is it becomes a sneaky fantasy thing, because if Claypool suddenly has a tight end designation, but he's actually a wide receiver, you probably feel pretty good about throwing him into a lineup.
Colts and Jaguars down in Jacksonville. The Colts are 4.5-4-point road dogs down in Jacksonville. I'm curious about the running back scenario when you look at a fantasy perspective. Moss has been great for Indianapolis. 445 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, just 89 carries. But we know Jonathan Taylor's back in the mix. How big of a split do you think it ends up being? Because Moss has earned playing time based on what he has done, and to the benefit of fantasy players out there as well.
It's going to be about a 50-50, I think, right now. I still think they're slow playing Jonathan Taylor. They just paid him a boatload of money. He's coming back off of injury, so you don't need to rush him back. By the way, I like the Colts +4 here. I think Jacksonville coming back from London after 2 weeks there. You could have a little jet lag, a little issues there. I'm not so sure the Colts win this game with Gardner Minshew, but I think they're going to keep it close. This could be a 2 or 3 point game here, so I would actually take the Colts at +4. That being said, I like Zach Moss. I think that Zach Moss has proven on the NFL field and then from a fantasy standpoint that he needs to be in your lineups. I think we're going to see about a 50-50 split. I worry if Taylor stays healthy, what Moss's role is 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with you. Vikings and Bears in Chicago. Minnesota is a 3-point road favorite. We know Fields has been better as of late for the Chicago Bears. Last 2 weeks, he's lived up to what Matt Deutsch thought he was going to be coming into the season. Here's the question with Minnesota. As we discussed earlier in the week when we joined you on Tuesday after the holiday on Monday, Justin Jefferson on IR with the hamstring injury for the Minnesota Vikings. So is it going to be the Addison show in Minnesota where Kirk Cousins is looking to throw the football?
Addison, Osborne, Hawkinson. I think one of those three has an all-time, not all-time, but like a big-time fantasy week this week. I'm just not sure which one it is. So that's why it does make it a little bit difficult there. You want to talk fun? The fun thing for us when we get back here next week would be that Chicago wins this game. That would be the fun part, because it'll open up every single door to the Vikings being 1-5, and why keep Cousins?
Yeah.
Like, and then we're having, because you and I had this conversation on Tuesday, and I know I brought it up, and I said, I'm like, listen, if Minnesota loses and they're 1-5 or they're 2-6 and they're whatever it is, why are you holding on to Kirk Cousins when you have to pay him in the offseason anyway? Try to trade him and get something. And there is that New York team that wears green that could probably use him.
How about Chargers?
And actually, the one in blue might be able to use him right now too.
And they're taking on the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend as well. 49ers and Browns. I bring that game up. We mentioned PJ Walker is going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, but the San Francisco 49ers, from a fantasy perspective, probably the best defense that they're going to go up against up until this point. When you look at that Cleveland Browns defense, how big of a drop off do you think you would expect from Purdy, McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel? Throw in George Kittle, who, by the way, had 3 touchdowns and a nice T-shirt against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think all 3 of those receiving players in Deebo, Ayuk, and Kittle all take a hair, like a step down. McCaffrey, you drafted him in the first round. McCaffrey, you aren't trading him for anything in the world. Roll him, you're fine. Is he getting you 25 fantasy points? Probably not. But is he getting you 17? Probably so. So I'm happy with there. I think the Niners probably cover this 10 also, but I don't know if I would be that excited about it. Really quick, I know we're going through the schedule, but Gabe the Babe just put in there 10 team, half a point PPR, need wide receiver help. Amari with a new QB and the San Francisco defense. Nico with Lattimore probably on him. Tank Dell is out as a plus. Can't decide who to start between the two. I would go with Nico Collins. I think that I've said it before the season. I said it throughout. Him and CJ Stroud have such a good rapport right now. They have such a good chemistry right now. I'm all in. Give me Nico Collins in that one.
And then you look at the Ravens and Titans in Tottenham early Sunday morning, 9:30 Eastern time kick. Odell Beckham Jr. is talking about turning a corner. Baltimore coming off of a slop fest of a football game. When you look at their performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers, in which they should have won that game by daylight, end up losing that game outright to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but dropping footballs all over the place. Interesting thing when you look at Baltimore is they flew out on Monday because Harbaugh, last time they flew over to London to go play, it was late. I think they lost the game like 37-0 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, got absolutely steamrolled. So they went out there early and they had a plan in place. Now Baltimore, and I think they bounce back in a big time way. Like the Ravens are probably, even though I understand it's English, I think coming off that game against Pittsburgh, I know it's a physical game, their performance, I'd be surprised if Baltimore did not respond against a Tennessee team where you struggle to run it, you can throw it. There were throws that Lamar Jackson made against the Steelers and put right on the hands of his receivers that they dropped.
The receivers aren't helping Lamar Jackson. I know there was a big conversation all week long about who's to blame. You know, Lamar Jackson just signed this big contract and he's got to be better. Yeah, he can't turn the ball over, but his receivers have to help him also. I think Baltimore, I'm with you. I think they bounce back in this one. I would take them to cover the 4 points. I saw it at 3.5 earlier in the week. If you got that number, great for you. I think Tennessee is just an average to below average football team. I think Baltimore is much better. I'll just take them simply put.
We'll come back. We'll head out to Vegas. Dave Sharapan will join the program. He's Keith Irizarry. I'm Marc Malusis. It's Moose and Keith with you on a Friday right here, Better Sports Network.
Oh boy, we got a big one. We got a big card here. We got
baby, let's go.
We got a super rookie.
Ooh.
Do you guys want to guess who the big card super rookie is? Because
I'm going to guess
exciting.
somebody from the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't recall who were rookies in those particular years. So I'm going to guess Michael Irvin.
Adam?
Jared kind of convinced me to go Troy Aikman there.
I'm going to read the description. In this player's NFL debut, September 10th, 1989, he produced an electrifying 68-yard punt return for a touchdown.
Sanders.
He became the first athlete in the 20th century to hit a home run, September 5th, 1989, for the Yankees at Seattle, and score a touchdown in the same week.
That needs a sleeve. That one needs a sleeve.
Top
100%.
super rookie, neon, prime time, Deion Sanders.
I wasn't that far off. He played for the Cowboys.
I was gonna say Dion, and then when you said the early '90s Cowboys, I'm like, oh, Aikman would be a good guess. So I go with your gut is the lesson there.
And there it is, the white and red Falcon jerseys that you said Dion came in with before they changed to black.
That was because the starting lineup for Dion his rookie year has got the red helmet with the white jersey.
Now look at that do. I mean, are you kidding me with that hair?
I mean, you gotta have a headband with those curls. You gotta.
That is sick. And this is a favorite card. Do we have any value on this card? We have to, right?
Let me see.
Give me a value here.
Let's see here on eBay. PSA 10 gem mint Deion Sanders, $149.99. And then a 9.5 is $6. So that guy might be a little bit then there's a much more reasonably listed one at $31 for a PSA 10. So it's got some value to it. Yeah, you might want to protect that one.
It's in excellent condition. I guess we have to worry about, is it centered?
Yes, that would be the next thing.
All right, well, we'll go through the process there. Maybe I'll just frame that one as a great moment in this show's history.
It's Moose and Keith with Marc Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
All right, out to Vegas we go. Dave Sharapan joins us. Good buddy of ours. Hit him up on X at SportsBKConsig. Dave, good look at you with the Phillies. Look at you.
What did you think I was going to come in?
I mean, something blue, obviously, because your eyes are.
Dave, do you have every potential matchup locked in with your futures? You do.
You know it.
Yeah,
you know it. When the dogs do good.
You had the Rangers, huh?
Woo! Do we have a Rangers ticket? You wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe the number.
So do you have a Rangers Diamondbacks ticket?
Damn right we do, sir.
Oh my God, that one would probably.
And you have it both ways.
What trip do you guys take? What trip does the family take if that happens?
Well,
you guys going to
break? No. Listen, breaking news. Big Kid Sig Kylie signed the NLI to go to Felician University.
She did
this week. So she's got
because of the coach, right? It was something with the coach, wasn't it?
Yeah, the coach wasn't named in the summer when the initial paperwork came and everything, and she just was hesitant. So she's just been staying home in limbo, being a good big sister, working out, waiting to see if an opportunity would come up and everything else. And the coach got named, and turns out that one of the girls on the team was on the team with us. She went there last year, and she was in practice, and the coach said, I got to tell you, your fundamentals are outstanding. Whoever coached you did a really good job. And she sent me a text and Coach Eric, the other guy, and said, hey, I just want to let you know, my coach said that whoever coached me really did a good job, and I wanted to tell you guys thank you. And I was like, wow, all right, you just made my day, Mick. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I responded to her again and said, do you want a roommate? I said, mention that you got more where you came from. And they had communicated once, Kylie and him. And next thing I know, Daddy, we got to go out to dinner. Sure. One-on-one. And we sit down and she shows me all this paperwork and says, I think I want to do this. And I'm like, you're going to go to New Jersey in the spring. That's a long way away and it's cold. Are you sure about all this? It's an opportunity. So I can tell you guys this, you got kids. There's nothing, I can't prepare you for this. I don't know what's going on in this house. Mama Bird is not, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm just trying to keep the ocean of estrogen calm. And, we're going to work out hard for the next 3 months, October, November, December. And if the Rangers or the Diamondbacks or the Phillies or the Astros, we're good anyway.
What's the best way?
The best way is.
Can I guess?
Sure, the longest odds.
I would guess Diamondbacks beating the Rangers is your best way.
Actually, because I believed in the Texas Rangers a little bit more, and I went back.
Okay.
And got a little extra. I got a little extra. Texas and Arizona would be the best case scenario World Series, but the other ones are not far behind.
Do you get? Is it just the matchup, or do you get paid based on who wins?
Actually, the Texas over Arizona is a little bit more than the Arizona over Texas. But I mean, I can tell you this: the initial numbers. I got the sheets right here. Hold
Well,
on.
do you mind me asking what the odds are? I'm not going to ask you what you bet.
400 to 1
Oh,
and 375 to 1.
Wow.
So,
That's great.
$20 wins 8 dimes at 400 to 1.
Oh my God.
And
and you don't have just $20 on it, knowing that.
well, that's what I'm saying. There's a few things happening here. So, like, when I haven't been worried about Arizona from the beginning because of the path. I thought they would beat Milwaukee. They did. They got the Dodgers, and I thought the Dodgers. I bought a couple Dodgers tickets just as insurance in case they would win, but I didn't think they were going to win the next round either. So minimal investment in the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks tickets have sat like I haven't done anything. So
did you invest it all in the Braves?
I did. I had to after I didn't until they won game 2. And I was like, you know what? If this thing goes 5, I have to have something. I can't let that whole side die and ride only with Arizona. So the Braves ones I got to light on fire, but that's okay. Bonfires like that are fine with the tickets. It's you have to. If I told you had to invest 5,000 to make another 5,000, guaranteed. Like you wouldn't lose 5,000. You'd invest the 5,000. At worst, you break even, or you make 3, 4, or another 5,000. Would you do it?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you're breaking even, if you know you're breaking even, why wouldn't you?
You can't lose. There's no you like at worst, like if it was Houston and the Braves, it's
Dave,
break
I need
even.
to sit down with you to go over this and how you set it all
It's
up.
a mental. You can't imagine. I have chicken scratch. I have all this stuff. I literally write the stuff out by hand. I have a stack of tickets that I got to go through after this show to put the losers aside. But I was going crazy last night when the Phillies won. I was just because I didn't want it to get to a game 5. I really did not want it to get to a game 5.
So now, all right. So you've got your scenarios. You're making money. You're gonna win no matter what.
Correct.
Now, do you start hedging?
Spending more.
Yeah, you're gonna start spending more. You are, right? Yes.
If Scherzer comes back, that changes things, right?
Okay.
If I was going through the schedule this morning, I could hardly sleep, and I feel like crap. But I took some medicine, and now I'm wired, so I'm good. But I was going through. I didn't even realize that the NLCS and ALCS are 2-3-2. Favors the dogs.
Yeah.
It favors the dogs.
Steal one on the road in those first 2.
I think they're going to go Gallen against Wheeler in game 1 in that side. I don't know who's going to pitch for the Rangers. I mean, if Evaldi stays on regular rest, that's good. Montgomery's been great, and it would be okay to throw a lefty to maybe neutralize Alvarez a little bit. I don't know. But as the prices adjust, like the beauty of it is I know what the prices should be or could be. And then I go and just go shopping and go, gosh, 400 to 1. I mean, if Texas wins the first series, what are you guys doing? I gotta take that. I gotta take that. Yeah. So, I mean, the stack of tickets of losers is a lot. It's thick, but the winners with the dogs winning with the format the way it is, baseball, whether it has a problem or not, the dogs can win these series and can advance. So that's what I did last year. And I was live to the Phillies, for a big amount. Then I had to hedge on the Astros and ended up making a little bit. Same thing this year. I don't want to see a rematch. Do you guys want to see a rematch?
I do not, no.
You're not even watching the baseball. I saw your tweet, Moose. You said it's been terrible.
Well, hold on a second. Yeah, because I've been watching, Dave.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean? Dave, hold on a second. I understand. See, for you, it's great, right? Because you have all these things and you're basically about to buy an island in the Bahamas.
No, right? It's not an island.
No. Right. I'm sorry.
I'm ready to come hang out.
I'm sorry. A chalet.
You're both
invited. Chalet in the Bahamas, right? So whatever it might be. Right?
I'll wear my Cabana Boy t-shirt.
Here's the deal. Top. As a baseball fan, have these playoffs had a ton of drama?
the individual games themselves, within the games, there's drama all the time. But overall, the Phillies and Braves is must-watch television.
I'm not saying it didn't get to a fifth game. The Dodgers got swept. The Orioles got swept.
Yeah, but the story of the Rangers sweeping the Braves was great. The Minnesota glimmer of hope that they had when Lopez pitched a gem in Game 2 led you to Minnesota to only get all their hopes and dreams go down the drain.
I just look
it
at
was just one of those things.
I like to see come down to elimination games. I like there to be that pivotal.
We all do, Moose, but like the hockey playoffs
are
great even without Game 7s. I dream of Game 5s and 5-game series and Game 7s and Game 7 in 7-game series, but we don't get it all the time.
Here's the there, Dave. If I had your tickets and I had taken that $5,000 and invested, yes, I would be coming from your vantage point. I'd be like, these playoffs are amazing. Like
I just got a call. I might have tickets behind the dugout down in Arizona for the NLCS. Do you want to come?
No, I can't get off, Dave.
I got a place to stay. We can hang out.
You're going to be sitting right by the dugout?
I don't know if I'm going yet. There's a lot of things going on in the house. I got to get this cleared. She's already been out.
Why can't you go?
I got my sisters live down there, my mom. I use it as an excuse to see them. I got tickets. The guy said they're right behind the dugout.
Dave, be careful. Jess watches our show religiously, so she's watching. She's gonna pay attention.
She got a big day at work today. Shane watching the show. Lou and Linda, if you're watching the show, good to see you guys. Hopefully you're watching the show.
I'm sure they are. But Jess goes back and watches the replay.
Paul Malusis is flying out to Cali Tuesday, and then he's going to be making his way to Vegas.
Oh, for the Mahjong thing? They're going to do that again?
It's at Paris.
Oh, no. Did you tell him about the traffic?
No. Well, no, not yet.
Okay, don't. I mean, you got to prepare them. So Paris is literally right across the street from Bellagio, where normally you could just be in Paris and look over across the street and see those beautiful fountains. You open your window or you stand on the curb, you hear that wonderful Bocelli music sometimes, all the stuff, watch the fountain show. You can't even see the fountains from halfway up to Paris. They built these grandstands for this thing. The roads are closed. G2E was just here. There were 1 million people here. It was great. I was out every night having meetings. That's what these people call it. They're not really meetings. And I heard from a lot of experts about the future of sports gambling and sports gambling content. Guys, it was fascinating.
Really?
It was, fascinating. If you watch Boston Universal Book yesterday, I went on about a 3 to 5 minute rant about how there are so many people in this space that are experts about all this stuff. And they were here speaking on panels. And then I got to sit down with them and listen to these things. And I was amazed. I got like a master's level education in 3 days from people who maybe the first time they've ever been in a book was this week, but they're experts. It was great. It was great.
I want to give you credit on something, by the way, Dave.
Please do.
Because
I always love that.
Yeah, a lot of people in Vegas that we all follow on social media and whatnot, and do a lot of what we're doing. Everyone is complaining about the grandstands, and everyone like boohoo, whatever. And you haven't complained, or at least if you have, I haven't seen it. I feel like you're the everyman, and you realize like, all right, this could be good for the economics of Vegas. Cool. It's a little bit of a annoyance about the traffic. You grew up on the East Coast, you know what traffic is anyway. Like, whatever. Like, just way too many people like, Gabe, are they going to tear it down? Why is it in my way? I can't see this. Like, all right, enough already.
I was down. I've been here 20 years. I know the ins and outs of a lot of places and stuff. I know where to go to not have to pay to park. All right. I had to walk a little bit extra. It was 85 and sunny. So what? Like, I know where not to go. In that corridor between those two, there was a big party down right at the bar next to the Paris, actually. And they said, oh, you got to come. There's a lot of people here that want to meet you. I said, you know what? I'm at the Venetian. You can come meet me up there. I'm not going, because you can only complain so much. When you can't change anything, why complain? I mean, I heard a great quote from Lou Holtz years ago. Nobody cares about your problem. 90% of the people don't care about your problems, and the other 10% are happy you have them. Yes. What are we going to do? Sit here and complain about the traffic? Forget about it. It is what it is. I'll let other people complain, but driving is not good. And you got to tell Paul that if he wants to go, the problem with it is that the Vegas trip that you're used to is not that same experience right now, where you could start up at the Bellagio and then work your way up to a couple.
I used to walk the
casinos.
entire strip. It was great.
You got it just walking will take you an hour because they got this close. You got to go under this underpass, all this other stuff. Driving, impossible. And people are walking off the jobs in Vegas right now. So it's crazy.
Really quick, got a couple questions, and I know that you're not a prop guy necessarily, but
you got props this week.
Well,
I need props.
We do, and if you want to stay with us again, you can for the next segment.
Yeah,
we'll put you on the spot right here. All right, Nick wrote in Lamb, AJ Brown, Ridley, Puka need to start 3. So I'll throw this to you guys. I kind of know what my answer would be here.
Start all the Rams, right? I mean, that's
yeah.
easy.
So I think you start Puka. There's 1. I'm afraid to start AJ Brown against Sauce Gardner. So I think I would go Lamb, Puka, and I might take a shot with Ridley. Do we think AJ Brown is sauce proof?
Well, Gardner doesn't travel though.
He did last week.
Well, last week was one. He hasn't majority.
No, he doesn't normally, but he did last week. So I wonder if he will.
I don't know if he's necessarily going to travel with AJ Brown.
So then, if you don't think he travels, then don't overthink it. Go Lamb, Brown, Puka. That would be what I would do.
Did you draft AJ Brown to play AJ Brown? I always.
You can make adjustments though.
I know, but
I didn't draft Puka. No one drafted Puka, and now you're playing him.
Well, but Puka's a big part of that offense.
Plus, Sauce hasn't played particularly well this year.
48.5.
Yeah.
What are the totals in the other games? 41 in the Jets and Eagles. 48.5. You've got to play anyone in Arizona and Rams. It's the highest total of the week, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm using Stafford in my fantasy survivor this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about stacking them with Puka, by the way. All right. So, we're in agreement there. Stroud or Trevor Lawrence? So, Trevor Lawrence.
That's easy for me.
Who you got?
I'm not playing Stroud against
the Saints. You're not doing it against the Saints.
No, I wouldn't do that against the Saints.
Okay.
I think that's easy. Yeah.
All right. So Trevor Lawrence is the answer there, and then he also wants us to pick 2.
Flowers, Kirk, Devonta Smith.
I'm in on Devontae Smith this week because I do think that AJ Brown might struggle a little bit. I think it's a Devontae Smith week, and I would go Flowers.
There you go. That sounds good. So people can actually text you or get in the chat and ask you fantasy starting
in the chat.
Yeah, they're asking us right now.
Questions. That's great.
Yeah, we got Ray Gamer, who has Waddle, Olave, Metcalf, and Christian Watson, a wide receiver. Guys, I just traded Moss and Myers for James Cook. How we feeling? My running backs are now Barkley, Montgomery, and James Cook. McLaughlin coming in as a third option. Yeah, that's all right. Not bad. I'm cool with that. It's good enough. All right, Dave, this is for you. I'm a Sox fan here, and I would love to see the Astros versus the Phillies again. That World Series would be a fun rematch. That's Ray the Gamer.
Ray's right. It would be fun to see, and I think the Phillies could beat them. But I've taken the position that the Astros could beat them again too. So I'm good. Literally, that one is perfect either way. I will have minimal rooting interest in that. So,
Dave, are you going to be at the Formula One event?
0 chance.
Did you see the prices of the tickets for that out in Vegas?
Well,
it's like $1,200, and then the VIP area is like $2,500.
Yeah. Guess what? They still got a lot of those available. Those
I'm sure they do.
They put those out there, and airline tickets to come are expensive. Life is expensive right now. You guys,
you're gonna rake people over the colt for $1,200 to sit there and watch them fly by you in a nanosecond.
Yeah,
that's what.
I'd like to go to a that's insane. $1,200.
Yeah, they're not getting that. There's a local special right now for practice, not for the actual race, for $200. You can go watch the practice. So, it's like Iverson said, we're talking about practice for $200, but it's been a game of chicken. And on top of everything else, the culinary union, the biggest union in town and in United States is outside of places today. Huge protest. They're picketing. They may go on strike next week because they're tired of certain things.
The culinary union?
Yes. Ginormous things going on here right now behind the scenes. So those tickets, if you wait, those tickets will be available for the race, Moose.
We'll come back. We got Dave. You're going to hang with us? No, I don't watch. I'll flip it on in the morning.
I'm not going nowhere.
All right, you'll hang with us. We'll come back. Sharpen's with us. It's Moose and Keith with you on a Friday right here, Better Sports Network.
Like Devon Levi started off in the friend zone, and now like he could possibly be wife material. So it is exceptionally hard to trust a rookie goalie in the NHL. The kid is what? He's 21. Like, okay. And he is going to the Buffalo Sabres. But we've all agreed that the Buffalo Sabres are at least a somewhat better hockey team on paper. Again, it's hard to trust a rookie goalie. We've seen future Hall of Fame goalies like, Fleury in his first year struggle, right? Carey Price in his first year struggle. It is tough for goalies to come in and have success. That being said, nobody outside of maybe a Buffalo sports fan can tell me who the two goalies on their roster are, because I didn't know until this morning, until I was reminded that it was Eric Comrie and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. And I was like, okay, well, he has the crease to himself. So all he can do is lose it. That's all he can do. Buffalo is going to be a fun team to watch, which means maybe Devon Levi ends up in what I call the Martin Jones syndrome, which is a goals against average is pretty up there. Save percentage is not very good, but he's going to finish with 35 wins because he's just going to play a lot. And it's going to be that back and forth hockey. The Atlantic Division is not very good, right? There are some teams that are going to regress. So there's opportunities here for Buffalo to do well. And I think his over-under on wins is set at 24.5. So again, there's a lot of things that I may not trust about him, but as a 13th goalie off the board, and I think that is a reach at 13. I think a lot of people have him farther back than that. So he may be 13 on NHL.com's list, but you may end up and show up in your Yahoo or your ESPN draft, and they haven't ranked probably outside of the top 20. So I would have no issue as a second goalie going with Levi, because like, who's taking his spot? Nobody. And volume at one point, if you're in a league that doesn't penalize you for losses, if you're in a league that rewards saves and save bonuses like, for daily, DraftKings does, he has all that working for him. So if it doesn't work out, all right, fine. Then you can go and pick up whoever is there. But it is his net to lose. I understand the risk. I will definitely take, because that's how you win championships, right? You got to take risks to win them. If you're safe, you're going to finish, eliminated in the first round and you had a good time. Or you can try to win the championship on draft day.
It's Moose and Keith with Marc Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Really quickly, Hal in our chat asked PPR Olave or Ridley. I know on the surface it feels like Olave is the answer, but I would go Ridley here. Indianapolis Colts have struggled against wide receiver ones, and Ridley is the wide receiver one for Jacksonville. Was just looking up some of the fantasy numbers for wide receiver ones, and everyone has basically gone off against them, including Calvin Ridley in week 1, where he had 24 fantasy points.
All right, play the real-time sports pick'em contest. Go to rtsports.com/alarm. First-time depositors get 100% instant match up to $200. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Keith, you want to roll through it quickly? What you got?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the Dave Sharapan special here, and it is Puka Nacua, more than 5.5 catches in 5 NFL games. He has topped this in 4 of those games, and the one game he didn't, he had 5. So you lost by the hook there. Having Cooper Kupp in the lineup is not going to hinder Puka Nacua from being very effective. 5.5 catches. Let's do it.
All right, 5.5 catches. What else? I only have one play for you. So
all right, I got 4. I'll run through all of them then. All right.
Yes.
DJ Moore going to top the 4.5 catches. Let's go back to the well. He has 8 catches in back-to-back games, and you're looking at a Vikings defense that is giving up the 2nd most passing yards per game. Justin Fields seems to be turning things around. Give me DJ Moore. How about we go to Minnesota now and check in on Jordan Addison? We'll take the over 51.5 or more than 51.5 receiving yards here, 52 or more receiving yards in 4 games this season for Addison. The Bears are middle of the pack against the pass. And then Moose asked me a question earlier in the show, what I thought was going to happen with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss. I think it's going to get closer to a 50-50 split. I still think he can get more than 45.5 rushing yards, which he has had 70 or more rushing yards in all 4 games that he has played in this season. So give me the 1-2 punch of Taylor and Moss. I'll take the second half of it in Moss and get the 46 or more rushing yards.
Yeah, in that Bears-Viking game, no Justin Jefferson. I'm just going to give you, I think Osborne, the number's too low, 39.5 receiving yards. So I'll take more than 39.5 receiving yards. I lied. I said I had one. I had another one. Going to go to the Jets because I think they're going to have to. Yeah, I am. I'm going to take, yes. I don't like him in the game.
I just like Dave grumbling in the background. Jets.
But Garrett Wilson, more than 51.5 receiving yards.
Oh, my.
It's the safest target for Zach Wilson. So those are my 2. Yes.
Dave, go ahead. Just tell me how smart I am. Ready, set, go.
You're going 3-1 on those.
I'll take that.
Smart. Yeah, you're going 3-1.
What am I going to go?
1-1.
Okay.
Yeah. The Jets one's no good. That's okay. I mean,
but you like the Osborne one.
The Osborne one's going to win.
Do you like do you like anything this weekend when you're looking at the NFL slate?
Monday night Chargers. I'm anti everything Dallas. After what I saw last week, I had San Francisco was gigantic. That was easy. It was one of the best comfortable plays ever on a Sunday night. New Orleans and Houston, I like the under. That's why those fantasy guys were asking those questions. I think that game goes under again. You see not a shutout again, but New Orleans defense is for real. I can't believe they're laying points on the road. I think Houston's a live dog to win the game. And what am I missing with Cincinnati and Seattle? That game feels like should be higher. And I feel like there's guys I've been talking to that Seattle's very live dog. And I think since he got right last week, I think since
so do I.
In that game. I don't know what I'm missing.
Game.
Yeah,
I know.
And you may have T. Higgins back in the lineup too for Cincinnati. So we'll know by the end of today.
Or did Cincinnati look great because they played Arizona?
That could be too.
Arizona's competitive. I mean, they're not
for like
good,
40 minutes.
Competitive
for like 40 minutes a game.
Right, exactly.
And then they realize they're Arizona.
Yeah.
All right, let's give a grade, guys. Curiosity, DY at the end. Traded away Stephon Diggs for Saquon and James Cook. So got 2 running backs for 1 wide receiver. Left now with Waddle, Watson, Flowers, and Deontay Johnson whenever he gets back. And now your running backs are Breece, Saquon, Cook, and Jalen Warren. I think you mean not Javonte Warren. What do you think about the trade? Diggs for 2 running backs. Dave, you go first.
I like wide receivers. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Was that a quality deal there?
Yeah, So Austin, my oldest son, has Diggs, and people have been begging to try to trade him for Diggs, and I keep telling him not to trade him.
No, I would not trade Diggs.
I wouldn't trade him either.
No. Dave, hockey's back.
How much fun is it?
Bedard is the best player ever. Oh, sorry.
How about let me ask you this. Like, did you see the amount of shots the Rangers blocked last night against the Sabres? 23.
It's a different game. It's a different game. Like,
but they're all doing it now.
Well, everybody's doing it. It doesn't hurt. It used to hurt when you block shots. I was guilty of it, because I played left wing or right wing or center. Like, when I covered a point, I was the flamingo guy. Only in the playoffs that I block shots. I used to go like this. I hated it because it hurt. Now it doesn't hurt. These guys are shooting a puck 100 miles an hour, and they're diving in front of it, blocking shots. Getting the puck to the net is as hard as getting quality pucks to the net now. So it's very different, but the Rangers look pretty good.
It's Friday, October 13th. We got 30 seconds. Edmonton Oilers going to be your Stanley Cup champs. Come on. I just want to see it.
Goaltending situation.
The goaltending situation.
Can't do it.
I know.
The Knights look pretty good, boys.
The Knights do look
that
good.
Ring?
Yes.
Ring.
Unbelievable. Dave,
we're
we miss you, man. We love you.
Oh, we're talk. It ain't over.
Yeah.
It might be over right now. It ain't over. It ain't over.
Thanks, Dave. We love you.
Later, Dave.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Later, everybody.